Frozen has in mind, but Crash on an aggressive jungler. He made his name on aggressive jungling. We've seen him on the Gragas and Sejuani so far this tournament. Now we're going to get a little taste of what Crash was known for back on his debut in Longzhou, and also how he's been doing in the LSPL with Vici Gaming.
Last time Mission picked this Syndra, he had a very good performance. Frozen picked Orianna into it, isn't going to be able to do that this time, nor is his favorite pick Talia up. So we're going to see something new from Fenerbahce. Kalista banned out by them, which means we're probably going to see Xayah for Hong Kong Attitude as that final AD carry. Varus is an option as well, though.
Varus is the one that we see into Tristana if you want to win the laning phase. We just saw it beat Reckless. We just saw it over in the NALCS as one of the counters. I remember constantly, Dignitas versus TSM. Varus is the preferred AD carry for the lane phase over, up against the Tristana.
And that is going to be the lock as well. Tanky top laners at the moment for both the teams. We're looking towards that support finally for Hong Kong Attitude. Ardent Center is the way to go, it seems, but we have seen teams win without it, and maybe something like an Alistar, oh, that's already banned out, could work.
The Blitzcrank. Hong Kong Attitude in the game earlier today. The two bans against them in the second phase were Janna and Blitzcrank, and now Kaiwing has his hands on that champion.
Can work into Lulu especially. You're isolating that support. Thresh into Lulu is another matchup we see so commonly because you can just kill her again and again in the lane.
Yeah, and this is something that's not that great into Tristana if he buffers the rocket jump appropriately. But another champion that's quite a good matchup here is the Echo into the Syndra. Echo had received some buffs some time ago, phase dive, cooldown, etc. And so, once again, we're seeing him here, but this allows the 1-3-1 double teleport to come through from Fenerbahce and allow them the potential of playing the macro game a little bit better, but you have to watch for that pick. The Blitzcrank is a game changer.
So both teams have game-changing picks. The Echo into Syndra counter pick is something we see, well, we don't see as often, but we always talk about when you see a Syndra locked in earlier. The Blitzcrank into Lulu, so powerful as well. Both teams taking their fate into their own hands with some confident picks and bans in this pick-ban phase.
And this is where you pull out the cards. This is where you have to get your ace out, because if you lose this, you're getting him much worse position, much less likely to make it out, and you need to have whatever advantage. So it doesn't matter if you're saving some strats for later on, or if you make it to the elimination, or if you make it to groups. You got to show everything here. We're seeing the Nidalee, we're seeing the counter pick Echo, and we're seeing the Blitzcrank.
And think about how important it is for both these regions to be able to get that first seed as well. You don't guarantee yourself a space in Worlds groups, but you can be much more sure of it. A second representative for the Hong Kong Attitude from the LMS.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit tired.
Third representative,
of course, from GPL.
for the LMS.
A third representative for the LMS and a first representative for Turkey if Fenerbahce are able to get that first position and the win. It's a monumental game for both of these teams, and we are on to the Summoner's Rift.
And we'll see what happens. Blitzcrank, funny business can happen level 1. See what happens right out of the gate here, because these have been slow games. When they play each other, it's been really slow. Nothing happens for about 20 minutes, and then it's explosive, but now there's more proactivity.
So if this game is slow, if it's the traditional HKA versus Fenerbahce matchup that we have seen across the last couple of days, which team is looking to have the advantage at that 20 to 30 minute mark?
I would say that they're both actually kind of okay, because Fenerbahce, they have the split push. Sure, your jungler isn't as good, but you have the Tristana. And then Hong Kong Attitude, you have some pretty good tools here, and then you have the game changer of the Blitzcrank. If I had to go pound for pound in the late game, if it's just completely even, I feel like Hong Kong Attitude have great ways to upset what's going on with the fact they have good engage, good pick, and Fenerbahce, the Tristana would be kind of what I'm looking at there. But with a Nidalee, if you're not getting ahead, I feel like that's actually you getting behind as Nidalee. It's kind of like when you pick that champion, you expect to be up in CS, up in gold, up in tempo. If you're not, then why pick it?
You can't go even on Nidalee. You have to be able to continually harass your enemy jungler.
If you're even, you're behind, right?
Makes a lot of sense. We did see a little bit of an invade from Hong Kong Attitude, but 2 early wards from Fenerbahce were able to catch them out. Definitely looking towards that mid and bot lane for both these two teams. That's where the action's going to be if it happens. Want to see what Crash does now that he's been opened up with an aggressive jungle.
So what happens here is Thaldrin is harassing while they do the blue buff, and then on the bottom side it's a leash that was spotted onto Crash's blue buff. So as they enter the lane phase, Blitzcrank will get a good position, And he'll try to play a little bit further up and see what he can do there. Godquai getting half HP because he doesn't get as much of a leash.
Rivis was chunked down there as well. It's actually, I believe, popping through a potion to start off that lane. So he's going to struggle a little bit into Thordrin early on, but should be okay. Galio very good at wave clearing. The hook onto Padden,
he took it level 1?
The jump takes it level 1 to keep himself safe.
Nice. I actually really like that. It doesn't give you so much lane presence in terms of explosive shot and like throwing the charge down to wave clear, but he doesn't want to push up.
It's Padden. How can you jump in without W at level 1s, I mean? You need to be able to get that as soon as possible. Is struggling to CS a little bit in the lane, though. A couple of farm down. Might be able to equalize that slightly, but it's still about 1 or 2 CS down on his opponent Unified.
Yeah, but like I was saying with the pick of the Blitzcrank, it just seemed like something they wanted because it's a comfort pick and the game decider for Kaiwing, whereas Padden already had the Tristana locked in. It's not a good matchup into the Trist because the Trist can just buffer the rocket jump, and it's pretty fairly easy to do, especially on land, to just react to it coming out. So it's more not for the lane phase, but more for outside of it being a game changer and getting those winning picks.
Well, alongside that Blitzcrank pick, the other point we really want to focus on is Frozen in this mid lane. He's picked the Echo, he's got the counter. He has consistently been a strong carry for Fenerbahce throughout their split. Now he really needs to step up because Mission had his number in their previous matchup today.
Yeah, Mission did a fantastic job up against Frozen. And we didn't see as much help kind of over from Crash, but now Crash is invading the jungle, has the level up over the Gragas. He has more tempo right now too, and he's able to place down some wards and get some vision as Gragas will hit 4 off this camp.
Pops the Scryer's Bloom as well, just to make sure that he knows if there's any vision for Hong Kong attitude in there. What is it we expect to see from Crash? Because Nidalee Jungle is still a pick that's kind of re-emerging on the scene. What is his incentive? Is it all just about the counter jungling, or is he going to be looking for ganks as well?
Well, you just try to use your power and oh, actually got hooked in and took a lot of damage there. Oh, Padden chunked to half, and that's going to give him an advantage. But to answer your question about what he's looking for, you're looking for counter jungle when you can, just trying to put not so much the Gragas behind, but you ahead, and get a large enough gold advantage where you can start leveraging that. And you can see he backs, gets the Tracker's Knife as well as Yamp Tome, and so now he has some combat stats that he's going to start looking to start leveraging. And we'll see right here, oh, that's the rocket jump, but Godquai is on the left side.
Yeah, he's looking for this gank down towards the bottom side. Just going to look to push this wave in. Kawing still 12 seconds away from another hook, but he does have the knockup and can flash in for it. Has Ignite as well. Here's Godquai, but the minions there in the nick of time to help out Fenerbahce in that bottom lane.
Crash also on this side. Doesn't quite make it over the wall.
I was able to come down and make sure that if the dive happened, he would have been there to react. It looks like Frozen is on his way towards bot as well, or just seeing if he can spot out Godquai waiting in the wings. Another hook onto Padden, and the heal has to be used. Not quite getting those buffers off as much as he would like on the jump.
Interesting as well, because we saw that Frozen went into Fog of War mid, and he had a route to come bottom lane and actually flank them. But HKA, this is something that's a criticism I had of them when I first saw them, was they play really risky. It doesn't look risky because they don't get punished, but they play with very little vision in a lot of places, especially around mid. And that's where I thought Fenerbahce would actually beat them, was just their control of that area.
They still have the vision control around that. They've got a ward pushed up a little bit. Padden able to jump away this time, but haven't quite seen either team take a true advantage yet. Getting the heal out of Japon is important. It is barrier on Padden and heal on Japon, which is something we're seeing a lot more on these Ardent sensor supports. Top lane is a little bit of a handbag war, as we would call it in the UK. Just hitting each other over the head with handbags, not really doing too much damage on either side.
Does look like Thaldrum is getting a bit low off of the handbag fight. Right now, though, he doesn't have priority in that top side. And that gives Crash an opportunity to go top after he wards here and possibly open it up. Because you can see both junglers actually mirroring each other.
Padden aware of the imminent danger from Kawing. They are 10 CS, 13 CS down in that lane now, and they were looking for the back. But here comes Crash up towards the top side. We might see our first gank of the game. And as I say that,
or not,
Rivis able to spot it out and just backs away.
Yep, just back to farming. Uptime, uptime. Thaldrin, too low.
It wouldn't be a Fenerbahce game versus Hong Kong attitude unless it had a slow early start for us, Irene.
True.
These two teams like to slowly accelerate towards a mid-game crash against each other. A clash of titans, you might call it.
Blue buff is what's looking over here for these titans. Crash will be able to take this pretty quickly. The Gragas was on the bottom side. They'll actually spot him on that control ward as soon as he heads over towards that area.
Do Fenerbahce react to this? Do they engage, or do they just say, okay, we know that he's come in, he's stolen that away. We see Japon is in the mid lane trying to help out Frozen a little bit.
You can maybe steal, but we'll see. I feel like this is just too risky to get over there. They're too far away as well.
But they do have awareness of that, and that's always important. It's not always about stopping the enemy from doing something, it's just about knowing that they are doing it.
This is going to be an awkward situation here because this is actually a long lane where the wave is. It's actually not going to meet in the halfway point. It'll be a little bit on HKA's side. And I don't know if they're like waiting and hoping that blast cone comes up in a few seconds here because you can see the plant particle, so it's almost up. But they're just hanging around this area, and Crash now spotted.
Kaiwing slowed up with the Glitter Lance. The ward comes down. Blast cone yet to fully germinate in that bottom lane. But there is a Mountain Drake on the cards. Teams still very even early on in this portion of the matchup, and perhaps a little bit of passivity due to the importance of the game as well. It is for a first seed spot. It is for an easier elimination match in a couple of days. Kind of corruption. Hook, Kawing's gonna land it. Pattern knocked back with the explosive cast. What a superb combo. But Pattern with the barrier flash isn't gonna quite be able to get away. Unified flashes in for the kill.
A fantastic flash forward from Unified. This guy has been so clutch for Hong Kong Attitude all tournament long. That was fantastic. The ultimate, it got buffered. Didn't matter. The Blitzcrank pick paid off in spades with the hook, and then Gogkwai was right there to channel or chain the CC together, even though the flash comes through as well as the barrier.
That explosive cast was absolutely clutch as well. Superb play all around from Hong Kong Attitude, and taking an early lead in a lane, burning the flash on the Tristana, burning the heal on Japon, burning the barrier as well is so instrumental to help Hong Kong Attitude get a lead early on. Frozen was unable to roam down. He's going to jump onto Mission, try to trade in. Parallel Convergence is there as well, but Mission will dodge to the side. The shield comes out. Mission might actually want to turn this one back around, does not unleash the power of hell on Frozen's face.
Wow, okay. That escalated. This demonic Syndra.
That would be such a sweet.
That would be sick.
Wouldn't it?
That would be sick. Frozen, though, hanging around here. TP from Riri's.
Yeah, he's going to join the fight. Perhaps
it's going to be a smite fight.
Thought he was a little bit closer.
This is what?
As you say, the knockback, but the smite goes down. Crash secures it, dies straight away. Fenerbahce valuing the Mountain Drake more than their jungler's life.
That was a lot of confusion there. Mountain Drake more than the Nidalee, so she'll lose tempo in the jungle. We'll see this one more time here. The Unified ulti into Kaiwing jumping forward, and then the barrel, so well played there. Barrier comes out, but then the Ignite was down. They used the summoner spells appropriately, and the ultimate there to knock back the Gragas. I mean, you pretty much try to play that as best you can. Frozen, now on the bottom side, it has the wave clear, so Gogkwai doesn't want to go immediately in. He's going to hold this.
Decided to finish the TP as well, because if they do dive in on him, he can always chrono break all the way back to the base, and will be safe for the time being. Mid priority given over to Mission, who has a 10 CS advantage as well.
Yeah, speaking of CS advantage though, Patton Unified. It's almost 50. He's almost got double it. He's heading over there. And this is that Varus into the Tristana matchup, but at the same time, Kaiwing is constantly hooking, right? And so when you're constantly hooking on this Blitzcrank, there's sometimes a 3-second gap because he's maxing it first, where the rocket grab will keep going down in cooldown, whereas the rocket jump stays at that 22-second cooldown. So there's 3-second gaps, 4-second gaps constantly, and now you have to worry about this Varus also throwing the ulti as well.
Chain of Corruption, there's the root. Wild Growth comes out at the start, but Pattern caught out, taken down, Kaiwing with the ultimate secures another kill for HKA, and it's the bottom lane of Fenerbahce that's struggling once again.
Yeah, and this is what we were saying is when coming into the tournament, this was not a very convincing bottom lane. And then they kept having these fantastic performances. The Kog'Maw, the 10 kills, the pentakill. Insane from them. And now it's being exploited.
Gogkwai even steals away the Gromp. Crash has not been able to have the early pressure that he wanted on this Nidalee. And this Blitzcrank pick, the aggressive pick from HKA, is working out so well. First Tower Blood in bot as well. Look at it, 11 minutes in, Zyrene. There is a 3,000 gold difference between these teams. It's the biggest advantage we have seen in any game between these two matchups.
Exactly, and the fact that Fenerbahce is not even getting on the board right now. They're looking for those later parts of the game, the 1-3-1, when they can actually have those matchups go their way. This is not going their way at all. It's the pressure. The Blitzcrank they had banned previously, they let up. They were like, we have to ban Kog'Maw Kalista in this phase, and then it let the Blitzcrank through, and that ended up being something big for Kaiwing, where he's got 100% KP. He's the one hooking everybody in, getting those kills and setting his team up. The clutch ace in the hole pick here.
A third seed from LMS, showing why many people rated them above AHQ coming into this tournament, showing just how strong they can be when they are able to get these early leads. A Blade of the Ruin King already finished on towards Unified. He's even gone for the Ninja Tabi just to negate the damage coming out from Padden. And with that 50 farm lead, they can now roam around the map a little bit more. They've come towards top lane. Has been answered by Fenerbahce, but they are probably going to struggle in this 2v2 still.
Yeah, this Tristana is pretty much a glorified cannon minion at this point. Running around, no flash, hoping to not get picked off, but they're just going to keep trying. Unified, once again, has the ultimate. Crash is rushing towards the top side.
I think that's the noise that a lot of Fenerbahce fans were making with that push forward. He's going to go straight to Godquai Kawing. The knockback, Static Fury does survive. Russian lands, though. They're not quite going to get the kill onto him. And meanwhile, the Nature's Grass is going to come out looking for the flank, because Frozen is fighting Mission down towards the bottom side of this. Nature's Grass lands, but only on towards Godquai. He's knocked back. The body slam
Echo got him away. Echo's flanking.
Has got the Syndra away, and now the flank comes out. Padden jumping in, jumping forward onto Unified, a kill onto the Lulu, but here comes Frozen, and this is the mid laner that needed to carry Fenerbahce, the pick that was left for him, the counter pick of this Echo. A great scat of the week for Mission, but Frozen is not done. He freezes Kaiwing in place and gets the kill for Fenerbahce.
And meanwhile, Rivis didn't have teleport. It's only 10 seconds away at the end of that fight. Didn't get in range to use the ultimate, decided to keep pushing, and that gets Fenerbahce back in the game. Gold onto Frozen, much needed gold onto Padden, and now Crash also picked up some himself.
Still a 2,500 gold lead for Hong Kong Attitude, though. It was an overpush. They thought they could catch out Crash. They thought they could get the kill.
Again.
And once again, Riris has overpushed a little bit in the bottom lane. He's looking for this tower. It does have the hero's entrance, of course. Tholdren needs to try and lock him up if he uses that. The knockback with the Justice Punch, but I think Riris is just trying to execute to the tower. Crash has now gone the other way. And here comes the shielded Duran from Riris to try and keep himself alive as well. He cannot hero's entrance, as you say, because there's no one in range. So he's just trying to delay for as long as possible. Good Justice Punch into the flash. Crash with the chase. Crash still going. He can use that bush, of course, for the movement speed. Rivis realizes it, and Crash secures his second kill of the game.
Godquai, bro, where you at? He was doing like red buff the whole time. Come on. Doesn't even like move to help him out or anything. It's like not worth my time, not worth the risk, not even let him try. But this Crash barely getting away is huge, because he's going to be able to contribute some spears here. And then the one-on-one that happens actually is the Echo forcing away the Syndra. They both ulti, and then the Echo has the inside track. Crash goes forward, but they are able to kill Godquai first, and then it was just CC, and the damage from Padden now, it's not much, but it was enough there to help them get those kills.
Important that Frozen didn't actually get either of those two kills, was just able to get the assist, so he hasn't snowballed as much as perhaps he could do, but he's still jumping in. Chrono breaks back, doesn't quite steal it away, was looking for the eye of the Herald there to get a steal.
Yeah, looking to hit that. Usually can hit it around 1900 or 2000 HP. It won't open after that point, but that's usually the sweet spot.
That's a CS deficit right there. Minus 61 farm at 15 for Padden. That probably would have been even more if that fight hadn't happened in the top lane and he got a couple of waves.
Oh, another root.
Chain into hook, into knockback. Explosive cask, explosive kill. Explosive early game here from Hong Kong Attitude.
I mean, sure, you have flash, you have barrier, you have ulti. It doesn't matter. Padden's just going to get rocked.
But Fenerbahce can still play around this mid lane. The Nature's Grasp onto Mission does have the flash, but realizes there's nowhere to go. Once again, Tholdren gets the kill, and Frozen will be thinking, if only I had a couple more of these, I could get my Lich Bane, I could do a little bit more.
Yeah, Frozen has been doing a really good job of setting this mid lane up, but also Tholdren. I feel like Tholdren's the one with those flanks. Every time he's on this Maokai and he gets some of those early, it really helps open up Frozen. So when they get to play around him and allow him to 1-3-1 on something like this Echo and with the TP, it looks a lot better for him. But what doesn't look good, 2-level advantage bot for Hong Kong Attitude, and the fact that this is a 70 CS differential now in favor of Unified.
I think this is the game that shows us how strong Ardent Sensor can be, because you've got a Lulu with Ardent Sensor, and you've got a Blitzcrank who cannot build Ardent Sensor. Which is stronger is the question, a 70 CS advantage or an Ardent Sensor on your support?
Well, that's actually a really good question because the combat stats that it would give you, people say, you know, it's worth a ton of gold. It doesn't have much to back it up yet.
You still need to have damage to be able to utilize the extra attack speed. So we'll have to wait and see how effective it is. Rift Herald is used
Mid lane
by Godquai towards that mid lane, looking for the turret. It will be the 4th of the game for Hong Kong Attitude if they're able to secure it. Fenerbahce yet to get a tower of their own. Here comes the hero's entrance, and Kai Wings got caught out. There's Crash, jumps back. Here comes Paolo Conversions, though, and that was absolutely devastating as Fenerbahce look to turn the fight around. Hong Kong Attitude need to retreat through the jungle, but Godquai's not quite done yet. Unified pounding down as well as the turret goes lower and lower. The Nature's Grasp. Fenerbahce unwilling, unending, unceasing in their aggression as they push forward, but they will be able to defend the tower for the time being. Meanwhile, Hong Kong Attitude, realizing their mistake as they went for that pick, immediately backed away.
And now the wave clear will come through from the Syndra. She has enough mana, and as well as the Galio. And Thaldrin, does he TP in? What happens here?
Have they got the flank wards? Yes,
there it is.
They have. TP to the top side. No Nature's Grasp. Tristana away from the hook! That's not what you want to happen. Anti-synergy from the team there. Explosive cast, scatter the weak. The hook just slides by the Tristana.
That's the first time, though. That's the first time that's happened. With the TP coming from the side, Thaldrin doesn't make it in either, and that's his TP down. But now Padden, you talk about him padding his stats. It's going the opposite this game. This game, he is just going into everybody else's score boxes. That's one time he slips away.
The important thing about that TP is that Frozen has one of his own, so you can match side lane pressure with double TP. If you fall behind, you can still match this Galio pushing in a side lane. Once again, Crash being aggressive does have a 40 CS advantage, does have a slight experience advantage as well, so this early game Nidalee has kept ever so slightly ahead, and it looks like he's going towards the Athene's Unholy Grail next.
Yeah, Athene's Unholy Grail, potentially Ardent Sensor as well on him. We'll see what happens.
Do you want to build Ardent Sensor when your AD carry's doing poorly, is the question, really.
Yeah. I don't, but Ardent Sensor is such a good item anyway. Maybe you give it to the Echo. You can get those passive stacks faster. Get those 3 stacks without having to land 2 Qs. Who knows?
Gain the life back as well. Can definitely work.
On Mission.
To try and Paolo Convergence onto Mission, who has to flash away, but Frozen unwilling to give up the chase. The knockback. Frozen still has the Chrono Break. Unleash power. Chrono Break back. Frozen, that's what you expect to see in this sort of trade, but Kai Wing and Unified are expecting to see a little bit more. The hook doesn't connect. Frozen puts down the Paolo Convergence to keep himself safe and will escape.
Yeah, that's a TP to mid lane as well. They were trying to siege that turret because there's so many people pulled down to the bot side. But Frozen didn't get enough HP back from his ultimate because he dropped it to Morellonomicon range, had Grievous Wounds on, and so he didn't actually get that much so he could stand and fight afterwards.
Ocean Breaker is going to go over to HKA, helps them out, because you get all of that extra mana and health regen, of course. Still a 3,000 gold lead for them. If before the game you offered them a 3,000 gold lead at 20 minutes, I'm sure they would have bitten your hand off. So they'll be comfortable in this position, if not happy with how the last couple of minutes have gone.
I mean, I'd be very happy in this position. I have a Varus with 2 completed items versus a Tristana that has 0 completed items. That's a very good position to be in. A very good position.
And now you're going to see item picked up on the rest of the champions as well. You've got a Righteous Glory just finished onto Riris. You've got the Abyssal Mask on the Thaldrin in the top lane. Almost a Lich Bane for Frozen as he's got the Sheen and the Aether Wisp. And it looks like Mission is going towards that Void Staff early on that we've seen from him before.
Yeah, it's pretty good against tanks, especially with an Abyssal Mask. And then there's the Athenes, which will also be in there too. He just wants that extra power. Especially since, like you said before, Merc Treads is a very incredibly common item in the mid lane. People buy it almost like we see AD carries buying their boots very early on. You buy the Merc Treads to negate some of the damage from your lane opponent in magic damage matchups. And also, if they have pretty much any CC, it helps a lot. So a lot of teams, mid lane players, actually moved away from just stacking the penetration.
Baron has spawned 21 minutes into the game, and you can see once again, these two teams value so much vision around Baron. It's all that happens really in the mid to late game between the two. That mid lane tower sitting but a breath of wind away from dying. Poof goes Unified, and down goes the tower.
Yeah, Hong Kong Attitude got upset by Fenerbahce in the day 1, turned it around, said, you know what, it's an upset, but they can remedy it. And if they come out on top again, they just go, everything is all right in the world. All the #1 seeds ended up being #1 coming out of the group. Fenerbahce now, their backs against the wall right now. 4,000 gold down, and it's a very proactive Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank always effective with those hooks later on as well. Assuming you can hit one, you can just draw the enemy team totally out of position. And Fenerbahce are just so much on the back foot here. They're giving up ground. They're ceding their jungle. They're saying, okay, Hong Kong attitude, we're willing to accept that you are ahead at the moment. We need Padden to get an infinity edge before we can really do too much. Currently sitting only on that static shiv. We need just that little bit more item spikes. Last time these two teams met, that's basically all we talked about for about 10 minutes, just saying they're waiting on their next item. They're waiting on the power, on the vision control, and that is exactly what we're seeing here between these two teams that respect each other so greatly.
A lot of it came down to team fighting around Padden for the win for Fenerbahce, and then for Hong Kong Attitude, it came down to team fighting around Unified. And now we find them in completely opposite positions now. With Unified, that 2 levels up. It almost feels like we're watching that Fnatic game over again with Reckless two levels down in this matchup. Just we're seeing this Varus be an answer to this Tristana that's been so prevalent lately.
You have to give credit to Kaiwing as well, consistently landing hooks in the lane, consistently burning that jump away as well.
And you could tell their practice on this because this Blitzcrank, if somebody just whips it out for like the first time or like, you know, they're like, I'm really good at this champion, this just seems like something the team plays around a whole bunch because if he's throwing those hooks on cooldown, you have to understand that window with alongside Unified's Varus if this is the combo you're going to run. And Godquai was even getting in there with the explosive casks. So Tristana, normally a good matchup into the Blitzcrank, but they're changing that with the fact they have multiple CCs in that lane.
And the synergy with Godquai's explosive cast is absolutely dominating as well. On the other side of the rift, Crash has sometimes struggled to synergize with this Fenerbahce lineup. He is, of course, an emergency sub replacing Move for them, and they've had little time to adjust to him. Over the games, he seemed to be more in a cohesive setting with the team, using Frozen, helping Frozen in that mid lane. Here, he does still have an advantage over Godquai, but I want to see just that little bit more. I want to see him just do that a little bit more for this team, and it looks like he's actually moving away from the Ardent Sensor and instead going for a Sheen of his own here.
A Lich Bane, yeah. So Lich Bane combined with the Runic Echoes, help him out a bunch. We'll have to see, though, because there isn't much here. Hold on.
There's the hook onto Crash. He just used the leap as well. Ignite comes down, but a heal into another heal from Japone, who steps forward and polymorphs, and Crash gets out. Unified flashed the wall to try and get that. You could see Hong Kong Attitude playing around Vision once again.
They wanted him so badly, but that's his flash. That's the heal from Japone. And now, what's going to happen here with the picks? There's just so much you can do in terms of picking.
Frozen. Chrono breaks back. That's an ultimate use, and that means the power can be more effective now. You can see HKA are picking at the weak points of Fenerbahce.
I feel like one of those sweepers, I feel like Frozen, you got to change that over to another trinket. We need more vision on the side of Fenerbahce if they want to contest this, because it's a Blitzcrank. He's going to hook people like over the wall here. It's going to be, oh boy.
I mean, there are 2 stacks on the Tracker's Knife. There were 3 stacks on the Sightstone. But the control ward from Hong Kong.
But even walking up to place those is sometimes just too far.
Godquai is going to be able to get the engaged. Tholdrin is able to use the Twisted Advance. Frozen looking for the flank. Of course, doesn't have that ultimate. Still on cooldown. The engagement. Godquai, the knockback. And they're looking for Japone. They take him down. Padden with the kickback. Frozen trying to get on the backside of HKA as Crash pounds down from the side, but they cannot get the damage in. And Fenerbahce just have to accept that they have lost their support for the next 22 seconds.
Yep, and there's 3 seconds on this Mountain Drake here, so they could even those up. Frozen, though, just kind of playing off on the side. Mid lane will be cleared out.
A Mountain Drake for HKA helps all that chip damage just get multiplied on towers on the Baron as well. You see Fenerbahce using the time to try and get some vision control, but look at that red side vision for HKA.
Right now, HKA, they would want to go bottom and clear that wave, but they want to clear mid now and try to push that up. And Crash just went in top, and he's pushing that out. So they're in a position where they have to run across the map and try to equalize.
Still control wards sitting in the Fenerbahce jungle. Virus has gone down towards the bottom lane to try and push up that wave. No turrets remain in that lane. Mission sitting at 234 farm, 26 minutes in, is looking pretty strong. Finish the Void Staff now. But that CS differential between the AD carries is shrinking slowly here, Zyrene. Down to about 40.
Shrinking, but in actuality, that is a 2,400 gold difference between the two of them. That's basically a full item.
But there's an Ardent Sensor.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's the balance we have to strike. There's still 1,500 between the two supports as well. Mid lane a lot more even, only about 1,000 gold there. So that's a 4,000 advantage for HKA across the board. And now we have to see if they're able to take the impetus, if they're able to take that next step, the game-winning step, perhaps the group's winning step that gets you into those groups against the top teams in the world.
Avoid Cloud9, avoid Team WE, avoid Fnatic, and play against Lion, Young Generation, or Team 1 Esports. It's definitely a big reward for winning the group here. It's a much easier matchup in terms of what we've seen from all of these teams.
And there's the item differential in AD carry really showing. Ginsu's Rage Bait has been completed for Unified, and only Azeel on the side of Padden. They can shred through this Baron if they want. They have the vision control. They have the deep wards. They're looking perhaps for just a little bit more awareness of Fenerbahce before HKA really pulled the trigger.
Ah, you see, Frozen, he did it. He swapped his trinket out. I was like, no way is that sweeper gonna help you. You need this long-range vision. So, swaps it out. I'm glad he did that.
And he's on a Syndra counter, but he's not really on a Galio counter in this Echo. He can't trade that effectively if he's pushing into a Galio in the side lane. Thaldrin is having to deal with the top lane. The hook not quite connecting onto that Maokai, who was blended into the jungle.
I think that was blind too. He just walked up and then walked back. So everywhere that they go, they're just walking and then walking back, like they're juking as if somebody would be in there.
Well, that's what they have to do because they have no vision control, no control really of their jungle at all. Only one deep ward up towards that top side, and that's it.
Oh, here comes Thaldrin trying to make the play.
Nature's Grasp in. They know Rivis is on the other side of the map. Does have the teleport. Looking for the hero's entrance as well. The knockback on the Frozen as he jumps in, and there's Thaldrin going low. The damage down onto that tree is monumental, and the unleashed power takes him down. Yelling Timber, HKA, kill at the top lane of Fenerbahce.
Yeah, and Riris TP'd in, so he's also here. He's going to jump forward. He has flash. Not going to find anything.
Righteous Glory into the Shield of Duran, which slows you down. Perhaps not the best combo in the world, but they weren't quite able to get the engage they wanted. They haven't pulled the trigger on the Baron, and meanwhile, Padden is pulling the trigger in this mid lane.
This will be the first turret for Fenerbahce, and it's just a kind of a sign of, they're not completely out of it just yet in terms of they'll find something on the map, but it's still a 5,000 gold advantage for Hong Kong Attitude, who have been showing all tournament long. We said they were the weakest Pool 1 seed coming in, but it looks like that was just a hiccup on the first day as they take this advantage early.
Do still have to close out the game. 5,000 gold, up from 3,000 gold 10 minutes ago, but it's a much slower development than HKA would like, and you do have double TP on Fenerbahce. We've seen how devastating that can be in the Fnatic match that we watched just a few moments ago.
Yeah, and that's why when you asked me about who has the advantage late game, I did have to kind of mull it over. I feel like HKA just have the Blitzcrank, which is just such a damn game changer with all the vision. But the double teleport is really what Fenerbahce have going for them. This TP, we just saw them get 2 turrets for the first time in this game and start getting a little bit back. It's not a lot, but the fact they have a Mountain Drake as well will help in that split push with the Echo, who now also has a Zhonya's Hourglass. So we're just seeing some turret destruction here on the side of Fenerbahce. If they reach these turrets, they'll be able to take them out. But 3 items on Tristana, 3 items on the AD carry of Unified. Look for a Hex Drinker too.
Summoners up across the board as well. Only Thaldrin's flash down in this game, so ability to dodge Killwing's Blitzcrank, but those hooks are coming out thick and fast, as are the spears from Crash, who has had a pretty strong game on this Nidalee.
Yeah, I feel like we're at the point now where this Tristana, she's fine. Ardent Sensor, 3 items, you have your Energizer build. They're good to fight. That's what it's going to come down to.
Nature's Grasp comes out, Godquake forced off towards the side. Kawing is going to get caught by that, and Thaldrin doesn't want the Blitzcrank, wants Unified instead, goes in. Here's the hero's entrance, Kawing flashes out. Explosive cast, not enough, Frozen doing work, but here comes the damage as Crash gets locked out at the backside. Riris in the front line, the stun lands, but Fenerbahce having to run for the heals as Padden jumps the wall, and HKA have killed the tank once again.
And you're seeing this Galio be huge. The damage reduction, keeping Kaiwing alive, and then also Thaldrin not really going really deep for Unified, decides, no, I'm gonna go after Kaiwing, he's the one who's right there, but it just makes it so hard to actually pick him up with that damage reduction from the Galio. It's pretty disgusting. It's kind of why they picked it early.
Teleport in by Frozen up towards the top side. He actually might get caught out a little bit here. Puts the parallel conversions down. Knows Ruris doesn't have the shield of Durand. It's now back up as he jumps in. Does land the taunt. God quite there as well with Kawing. And there comes the static field. The Zonya's used by Frozen. He does not have the Chrono Break. He's trying to get out. Flashes the wall. And actually Mission just died to Pattern. He was caught out from the rest of his team. And now Frozen has the ult as well. Yeah. Parallel conversions is going to come out. He's going to jump back. There we go. Double kill as he jumps all the way in. The teleport coming out already. But Frozen's dead. Now Unified goes down as he takes out Crash. Unified somehow survives. It's up to Pattern. He's on the back line. He's going to jump forward. I can sense it. Do it, Pattern. Be a man as he jumps all the way onto God Quite. The Righteous Glory Slow comes out, and Fenerbahce are turning this one all the way back around. The Nature's Grasp has already connected on God Quite. He's going to jump up towards the side, but Thaldrin is there. They're not going to be able to get the chase off any further, and Fenerbahce and HKA disengage.
That ulti actually hit Unified. They didn't know where he was, but it rooted him for 2.5 seconds. That was so close. But like you were saying, Patton, this guy, he likes to go forward. If he's freed up, I love to call this guy Wild Turkey. Just like Wild Turtle, he gets forward, he will be aggressive if he sees the opportunity. Sometimes it bites him, but it's just so lovely to watch. And the fact that he was put down early in this game means you haven't been able to see it until that moment. And that's where you really just go, man, this team, they are just playing on a knife's edge. Right here, Frozen, he's drawing so much damage, so much attention, the Zonias, and then as soon as he gets the E, flashes over, he's out, his ulti's back up, but they blew up Mission on this side with the flank because everybody was paying attention to what was going on with Frozen.
And then Frozen has time to get his ultimate back up. The teleport comes in, he does get taken out. Crash gets removed from the fray as well. And then Pattern just has a bit of time to work his magic on this Tristana.
But you saw how much damage Unified was doing. We'd see a lot of on-hit builds and we go, they don't matter that much. But he had the full stack Rage Blade and the Runaan's Hurricane, and he was doing so much. It looked like maybe the Galio Q came in and you were like, that's a lot of damage just hitting everybody. But it was really Unified's. Thaldrin, though, taking a bit.
Pops the Nature's Grasp, but it's going the wrong way as HKA continues to look to the engage. Pattern is sitting at 4 completed items now, so he is doing a lot of work on this Tristana if he can position properly. It's still a 3,000 gold lead for HKA. That fight set them back earlier on, but they are still in a strong position in this game. They can still set up vision, they can still play the way that they were playing before. They just need to be a little bit more cautious with their engages. And they did get a Mountain Drake as we were seeing those replays. So that double Mountain Ocean here to only the single Mountain of Fenerbahce. The next dragon will be the Elder. We've seen so many times the games between these two teams come up to a Baron steal, a Baron fight, or an Elder fight. Both of these teams so anxious, so willing, so ready to fight for this #1 seed because of just how important it is to avoid Fnatic, to avoid Cloud9, to avoid Team WE and make their way towards groups.
Baron is going to be really hard here. There would have to be a Blitzcrank hook to try and stop this. There comes the trinket. Frozen's off on the side. This is all a setup. They're doing it slowly. Patton, though, taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, back of the pimp means you take more damage. God Quite perhaps looking for engage. They don't know that Frozen is there. Mirris in the mid lane, has the hero's entrance. Knocked back, Frozen jumps into Mission. The parallel conversions comes out as well in the hero's entrance, but the spear from downtown kills Mission. And now Fenerbahce looking for the fight. Unified down, 2 kills already, and Fenerbahce can jump forward. You can see Patton can taste it. You can see Frozen can taste it. And you can see HKA taste the face of Fenerbahce. They're gonna lose 4 members, and Fenerbahce are gonna go for the Baron.
They're gonna go on the Baron. It's only God Quite alive. Frozen is a god. That setup with the parallel convergence and then the ultimate afterwards. We were talking about Patton needing to get back in this game. Frozen has been keeping him alive on life support. This is beautiful. This right here, the setup. He's been waiting in this bush. The explosive cast comes out, doesn't matter. Thaldrin goes in, they only think he's there. He already prepped this onto Mission. He stuns Mission and Unified, the 2 carries, and he obliterates one with the help of Crash, the old Longzhu member, the duo. That was an insane combination there.
We've said it through the entirety of play-ins. Frozen needs to step up. That is what your key member does. That is what your carry does when it comes down to the crunch. Fenerbahce now equalize the goal. They're even 1,000 ahead. Look at the damage from Frozen. Over 6,000 compared to only 300 for Mission. Mission didn't even get a chance to get its ultimate off in that fight.
Yeah, the stun and then the fact that Crash was there to throw into the back line. There's so much going in favor of Fenerbahce now. The gold advantage, the fact that they have the double TP, and the fact that Frozen has that counter matchup into the Syndra. He was applying pressure in the lane after a bit, but he's applying pressure across the map now.
And because they were pushed back early on, there are so many turrets that they have yet to take standing gold on the map for them that can help them push this gold lead. Now they're looking at this second tier of towers. Still one tower behind. HKA do still have 3 dragons, remember, but it's all on what Fenerbahce can do with the next 2.5 minutes while they have this Baron buff.
Well, 1-3-1 compositions make the best use out of Baron. They'll siege bot, they'll siege mid, and Frozen saying, there's a wave top, I'm a siege top with his double teleport.
And you're getting to the point where HKA's early game doesn't matter. You've got a 4-item Tristana. You've got the Ardent Sensor there as well. You've got a massive Echo in the mid lane. Tholdrin's incredibly tanky. You've got a second AP carry in the form of Crash.
Keep going, keep going.
There's so many benefits for Fenerbahce. HKA reeling from a fight that they lost and now losing tower after tower after tower.
And now they hit those 6 items a little bit faster, but it just gets them back to even now. This comes down to those summoner spells, the compositions, the team fights right now with that Baron buff on Fenerbahce. The 1-3-1 is not answered. There's a 1-4 going on right now, and Tholdrin is able to push the bottom side as the top side is just being answered by Galio. So now it's just back and forth, trying to find something.
And if you're Hong Kong Attitude, you're looking for a little bit of that magic. You're looking for a bit of the magic that Tabe brought you when he joined the team. You're looking for Godquai or Mission or Unified just to step up and make that big play.
Yeah, let's update this real quick because you're talking about magic. This Tristana was just getting destroyed. Hold on, no. Oh my God.
He survives though. That could be huge because the hero's edge comes out. Frozen's dead. That's a little bit of magic in the Hong Kong Attitude of the Hong Kong Assassins as they have killed Frozen and Crash. Tholdrin now in the wrong place. Unified just unleashing hell upon Tholdrin, and Tholdrin has to flash away, but you don't get away from HKA as they take 3 kills in the mid lane.
And on the opposite, another brilliant fight there. We saw Frozen try to have lightning strike twice. He gets unified, but all of the shields come through. It's like, where is that coming from? He had the maw pop, he had the healing come through, and he had the defense from Riri's. Incredibly, he survives that and heals back up. Frozen did not get to ulti, did not get to Zhonya's, and now they're pushing down the main base of Fenerbahce.
How quickly the tides can turn. Fenerbahce still 30 seconds on their top laner, 15 on Frozen as well. This will be an inhibitor at least. HKA,
they want that one
like
seed.
They want the win. It's just a Nexus tower between them and the win, but Padden is on the flank, and HKA accept that they shouldn't push any further. They back away from it. The gold is even now, Zyrene. The game is even, but HKA have an inhibitor advantage.
Well, HKA have an inhibitor advantage, and they have 5 seconds before Tholdrin's up with no teleport. This gives them a lot of time to do this Elder Dragon if they're confident enough. Rush it down, because Fenerbahce are going to have to face check.
Spears come out, as do the traps. HKA setting up a trap of their own in the river. No vision control. Crash jumps the wall straight into... Oh, the hook lands as well, but the knockback from the Scatter the Wheat, and Japone actually escapes. And HKA actually save the support of Fenerbahce with a Scatter the Weak for Mission.
But that doesn't matter too much because Mission got chunked out. He may have to back here 4v5 in favor of Fenerbahce.
On his way is Frozen, still looking for the flank. Tholdrin in the front line, onto Godquai. Frozen up towards the top side, but Riris checks the bush. 4,000 HP on that Elder Drift. The steal from Godquai perhaps could happen, but he's going to actually back away from this. HKA decide they do not want this fight. The Elder Drake will go down, and Fenerbahce, with their second big objective of the game, might be able to force HKA into that second seed.
And this will barely overlap for them with when the Baron spawns here in 2 minutes. So this Elder Dragon will be on for a little bit of that time, but they're going to try to shove down mid, get this turret that they had already worked on before, and try to get something in that base because they lost that inhibitor mid.
Let's quickly recap where we are in this game. 3,000 gold between the two teams. That means nothing now. It's minuscule. But we are hitting those 5-item spikes. We are hitting those 6-item points 4 items completed onto Mission. You've got 4 as well onto Frozen. And this is the reason that HKA were able to get that inhib in mid.
Yeah, watch this counter. The damage reduction keeps him alive. Unified turns, roots as the stun comes through, or the knockup comes through. He doesn't get to do anything to get out of that. And now Unified heals up with the fact that he has the Blade of the Ruined King and the fully stacked up Rage Blade, and the Maw had popped, which gives him even more.
That lifeline passive from the Maw gives you both the shield and lifesteal, 10% extra when it pops. That is absolutely devastating in a fight like that. And look at that gold graph, the swings and roundabouts that have happened in this game, the peaks for HKA and the troughs for Fenerbahce, and both these teams are playing like they deserve a #1 seed in Group D.
Well, the sad fact is that you can only have one, right? It's a Highlander situation.
That's why it's Worlds. That's why these are the best teams in the world. That's why this competition means so much, especially to emerging regions, especially to the 3rd seed from LMS, the first time we've had a 3rd seed, a Turkish representative from Fenerbahce. They are fighting for the pride not only of their team, but of their country and of their region.
That's one of the reasons I love to watch esports as well. These teams, there can only be one winner out of this group, only one team taking the glory. And when it's this close, that's how close you get to the screen. Every move under a microscope, seeing who is going to make that clutch play.
And both these teams have people who can do it. We've seen Mission do it. We've seen Unified make superb plays. Frozen, Crash, just to list off a few. It's important to remember the team that loses this is not out of the competition. They just have a 2nd seed into the elimination matches in 2 days' time. It means they will face Fnatic or C9 or Team WE. I'm sure they'll be thankful that they don't face their opponents at the moment again, because these games have been absolutely epic. 43 minutes in, there is not a hair's breadth between the two, but Godquai engages, flashes onto Japone, catches him out. The unleashed power was not there. That's what he wanted. He wanted Mission to get that engage. Godquai now without a flash, without an ult, and perhaps without a hope to fight around this barren pit that Fenerbahce are going to try and secure.
Yeah, Frozen going to continue to push bottom and set up the next moment in this game. Fenerbahce are just watching mid, warding up Baron. They have control of that area, and then they have the split push bottom. This is the 1-3-1. Where's that Maokai gonna go? Because now you see the Galio having to go bottom.
And this is the reason that 1-3-1 can be so hard to play against later on in the game. You put Maokai top here, you push it out. The good thing for HKA is the fight is around the Baron, the fight is on the top side of the map, so you can send your TP bot and help him trade into Frozen, who is struggling in that. The Barmy Cinder doing work. The fact that Ruiz just has so much damage inherently in his kit and so much tankiness to deal with Frozen definitely works in their favor as well. Frozen has now completed that Rabadon's death cap, so he is basically full build, unless he's looking to sell his Mercury Treads, and has been stopped. HKA not going to quite pull the trigger on the other side of the map yet, but that's the sort of opportunity they need to catch out Fenerbahce.
And you can see Frozen doesn't do much damage at all to the Galio. He has some MR. 2.5 items right now. And this right here, damage dealt in the game. Unified, you shut him down. That's a huge chunk, but you can see on Fenerbahce, just across the board, everybody kind of doing the same. But the best part is this Maokai's done the most.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, a lot of that is, you know, you're in a tank matchup going back and forth, but this fact that he's able to get access to things like the Blitzcrank and deal a lot of damage, as well as, you know, we've seen him on top of Godquai.
The thing is, though, Pattern's done a reasonable amount of damage with boots. Now he no longer has boots. He has a Phantom Dancer instead and is looking towards that 6-item Tristana, which can be devastating. We've seen it win a few times across the course of this game. I'm also going to just comment quickly on the fact that Pattern has reversed that CS differential. Yeah. It doesn't really matter that much.
No, early game doesn't matter. What matters is your moves. What you do right now. 5,000. It goes down so fast with the double mountain.
Frozen TP's in. Here's the Nature's Grasp.
Crash
jumps in. He steals the Baron, and now HKA need to win this fight because otherwise they have lost the game. Hong Kong Attitude looking for the kill. Doldrin a 4-man stun though with the power convergence. Frozen's in the front line. Doldrin still tanking stuff up. Here comes Pattern jumping in from the side. Kawing have to run away. Jumps in. Frozen has to jump out. Doldrin is there though, and Unified is dead.
Turkey!
And now it's all on Pattern. He manages to secure 2. That's 3 for him, and that is gonna be the #1 seed for Fenerbahce.
Pattern in, gets the resets, jumps forward, but the steal from Crash means that even if that doesn't go their way, they would have been able to stall, they would have been able to stay in this game, and now they're just gonna take it like you said.
Rivis has to try and defend, but I think it's just going to be last chance saloon for him. This inhibitor tower will fall so quickly, the inhibitor will go down as well, and Rivis might meet the same fate. Fenerbahce don't care about the Galio, but they should care about the minions, because those reduce the Nexus Tower's resistances. Padden is going to pound down on it, 18 seconds on the next member of HKA. Doldrin's so tanky, will be able to tank it up, and now it looks like Fenerbahce should be able to close this out. The first seed is going to be theirs. They're going to go through to the elimination matches with an ace, with a victory over HKA. Fenerbahce, welcome to the Big Boys Club.
Number 1 seed, another upset over HKA, saying it wasn't a fluke. We're just close, but we're a little bit better.
Just impressive stuff from them all round. Hong Kong attitude as well, though. That has to be devastating, because you led the majority of that game. You were in a dominant position.